Hello, it's a lovely good evening and welcome to Camnet TV Main News. To present, my name is Jeffrey Yambo. Top stories in the news tonight. Mother of a 2-year-old boy with a bulged testicle calls for help. The UPND Alliance asks for former PF officials to surrender dubiously acquired properties to the state. President HH commits to fight gender inequalities. And in international news, COUP uncertainty raises value of BAUXITE in Guinea. And in sports news, the 2021 Zambia Motor Rally International is set.
The Camnet October Conference is fast approaching. To participate in the forthcoming conference, you're required to book your seat by paying 750 kwacha per person per day. Date 1st and 2nd October 2021. Venue, the Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. Guest speakers include Professor Reda, Professor Munkumba, Mr. Nkuruma Kalaluka, Dr. Musonda, Dr. Sitima, Anthony from USA, Dr. Mwale, Honorable Bob Sichinga, Elias Bondela, and your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chiluba.
You can also participate via Zoom at 300 kwacha per day.
Make your payments through mobile money for MTN 096 296 5883, for Airtel 097 975 3010. Our banking details are 913 000 182 5325, Stanbic Bank, Kablonga branch.
For those living abroad, make payments via Wild Remit. The deadline for payments will be 28 September 2021. Any late payment made after 28 September will attract a penalty fee of 200 kwacha per person.
Hello once again, and now we have the news in detail. Mother to a 2-year-old boy living with hernia has appealed to the government and well-wishers to quickly come to her aid as her son's condition gets worse. Felda Kawe has told Camnet News that she noticed her son's condition when he was only 1 week old and was told that health experts can only conduct an operation on her son once he turned 1 year 6 months old. Ms. Musonda says after the operation, her son's condition worsened. Medical experts gave the family an appointment for October 2021, but they fear that the child might not live that long and want well-wishers to help them. We would like to warn our sensitive viewers that the picture might be disturbing.
Musonda, a 2-year-old boy from Kasama, is living with hernia, a condition that occurs when an organ pushes through an opening in the muscle or tissue that holds it in place. A condition that is extremely painful, mainly affects the private parts and has made the boy's life miserable. Mother to the child, Felda Musonda, has narrated to Camnet News how the medical condition started to date as she daily agonizes with fear of losing her child.
After 6 months, na boekera ko baile mu after 1 year 6 akulire abukwacha kusaka. Penaire 1 year 6 penaire. Baile mpere chipepa cha operation. Bamubombere omwana. Okumbuka shero kutuntu futi okochabwera. Leto abwere ku hospital. Bayifine nalimu bwekesha ku hospital. Kaina abantanisha. Umkeso imweshi. Kumbaine ndelomba kubwa firisha. Ine na imwana kuchashani akusuku. Ine na firu.
The condition has also resulted in the boy experiencing extreme pain when excreting.
Ubulwele tabuchinja. Buya fipantanchi. Neta polefe nalachi. Njafirisha niko mwantu bakwalezi. Napa kumukuboko nshkwete. Olo mwana. Tafisha ngefinga fishu mwana. Mwana amafi yakaina. Yofika ya nukwati mama wadibola. Olo pa kufisha futi. Aladila. Napa kusunda. Aladila mwana pa kusunda.
Meanwhile, neighbor to the victim has also joined the call of well-wishers to come to the rescue of the family.
Umwana aleka biro bwafulisho. Twali mutwele ku kipatala balire muta operation. Mapano ma operation tapitire fyemyeshi ino. Kati twasasanga obulwele bwabwera. Kikirera ng'otatita kwali bwafulishe bwino. Ekyo kwenda palikano akashita tulekabira kwa abantu abakweta oluse. Balole sipa mwana uyu batwafulisheko. Ne ulera ndapano nineneva omwana. Kanji tulelomba ko bwafulishe ku bantu abakweta oluse batwafulisheko pauti mwana uyu. Atwapanga kyakirapu pali yishita. Mwana mishale mana chapo. Kati tulekabira bwafulishe panchita ina kirimu no. Batwafulisheko abantu abakwalesa. Bakweta makaya kutwafulisha.
While hernia does not heal on its own, surgery remains the only option to giving the boy a second chance at life. Sharon Kalimbola, Camnet News.
Chief Chanje of the Chewa-speaking people in Chipangali district is saddened by the increase in the number of child labor cases in his chiefdom. The traditional ruler has commended Jesus Cares Ministries for implementing various programs in his area aimed at improving the lives of his subjects. Speaking when European Union Zambia Program Manager Patricia Kapolio paid a courtesy call on him at his palace, Chief Chanje said most children are failing to attend lessons because they are employed as cheap labor by tobacco growers. Mrs. Kapolio was in Eastern Province on a familiarization tour in order to get acquainted with the projects undertaken by Jesus Cares Ministries. The traditional ruler said the coming of the Protecting Every Child Against Child Labor Through Education Peace Project will play a major role in curbing the scourge in his chiefdom and the surrounding areas. The European Union has pumped in 400,000 euros in the Peace Project, which is supposed to be implemented in Chipata District, Eastern Province, and in Nkayema District in Northwestern Province. A financial analyst, Mambo Hamaundu, says the Anti-Corruption Commission (SEC) should clarify its statements made recently that it is investigating a former councillor who purchased a bank with all its assets worth 300 million kwacha, stating that a bank cannot be bought by an individual as the Banking and Services Act only allows an individual to own up to 25% shares in a bank. The Anti-Corruption Commission (SEC) recently came forward stating that it was investigating a former ward councillor who purchased a bank with all its assets worth 300 million kwacha. However, the Bank of Zambia Tuesday debunked the claims, stating that it has no records of a bank being purchased by an individual, as procedure stipulates that all such purchases have to go through the Bank of Zambia, as it is the financial governing body in the country. We have more in the following report.
The Anti-Corruption Commission (SEC) is under scrutiny from stakeholders after its claims that a former ward councillor purchased a bank along with its assets worth about 300 million kwacha were debunked by the Bank of Zambia. SEC spokesperson Ms. Queen Chiwe made these statements on 15 September 2021 during a media address.
The ninth case involves a former ward councillor of Lusaka who's being investigated for the suspicious purchase of a named bank together with all its assets worth 300 million kwacha.
The Bank of Zambia, however, on 21 September 2021 denied the claims, stating that it had no application on record for the acquisition of a bank, as all such purchases have to go through the Bank of Zambia, being the body governing financial institutions in the country. This has placed the Anti-Corruption Commission in a position to explain, as a financial analyst, Mr. Mambo Hamaundu, has further informed Camnet News that the Financial Services Act does not allow purchasing of a bank by an individual, but only allows someone to own shares of up to 25%.
It's an illegal transaction. It's a transaction which did not really happen from a Bank of Zambia perspective. But secondly, I think it's also important to mention that there is a possibility, and as a people I think we must distinguish between a building which houses a bank and a bank. It is possible to buy a building which houses a bank, or it is also possible to buy a building which is owned by a bank without really Bank of Zambia involvement. So from that perspective, I'm actually saying what Bank of Zambia said is a correct position. Bank of Zambia will get involved in transactions that involve the transfer of shares within a bank.
Meanwhile, Stakeholders like the Governance, Elections, Advocacy, Research Services GEARS have been questioning the motive of the ACC in sharing such information, stating that this could be a public relations stunt to make a name for the commission. The ZAMBIA Consortium, another civil society organization, has been calling for an overhaul at the ACC, alleging that it has not been effective in the fight against corruption. However, when wished for a comment, ACC spokesperson Ms. Queen Chiwe requested for a press query, which she did not respond to by broadcast time. Zipporah Mushala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Republican President Hakainde Hichilema has stated that government will embark on vigorous reforms aimed at lessening gender inequalities in the country. Speaking when delivering his maiden speech at the 76th United Nations General Assembly Tuesday in New York, the head of state notes that women continue to lag in areas such as accessing finances meant for economic activities as well as accessing education. President Hichilema, however, adds that the country can boast of a few areas where women are excelling, such as the first ever appointment of a female Speaker of the National Assembly in the country's history. He has since pledged his commitment to ensure that women attain public office and contribute effectively to national development.
The call for gender equality is now a century-old struggle for women to participate equally with men in society as a whole. Despite realization that women's full and effective participation in all areas of life results in prosperity, women are still, however, involved less in public life and decision-making. It is important that we continue to demand for the promotion of gender equality while paying particular attention to the rights of women, children, girls included in there, and the rights of people living with disabilities. For us in Zambia, we will remain committed to the advancement and promotion of women's rights, and for the first time, Mr. President, in the history of our country, our new parliament has elected the first female Speaker of the National Assembly to preside over Zambia's supreme law-making organ of our government. I further wish to state, and I think this is important, with pride, that Zambia's Vice President, Republican Vice President, as well as the Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly are both women in our country. We're very proud of that. Consistent with our commitment, Zambia is implementing various initiatives designed to harmonize the development, programming, and indeed implementation of economic empowerment efforts targeting women and the youth across the country.
The New Heritage Party President Chishala Kateka says the COVID-19 matter should not be treated as a singled-out item pressing the Zambian people, but other diseases as well, such as malaria, which need particular attention. Commenting on what seemed at lobbying for international aid to fighting COVID-19 by President Hakainde Hichilema at the ongoing United Nations General Assembly, Ms. Kateka wonders why COVID-19 has been given much attention compared to other diseases that statistically have killed more Zambian people. She adds that since the pandemic in Zambia, only 3,000 plus lives have been lost, which questions the attention the pandemic attracts. Ms. Kateka notes that a country like Zambia should be focused on more pressing issues that are affecting the Zambian people. We have more in this report.
The COVID-19 is said to have brought the world to a standstill, especially during its peak. It has been one of the most talked about challenges by all countries at the ongoing United Nations General Assembly as one of the challenges hindering the attainment of most global agreements, such as the Sustainable Development Goals. President Hakainde Hichilema, in his address, mentioned that the pandemic has greatly affected the country's aspirations and the lack of vaccines to cure the pandemic.
Mr. President, it is fair to state that recovery from the pandemic hinges upon mass vaccinations before considering other reforms or facilities that tend to fail when countries lock down their economies. It is therefore gratifying that this session of the General Assembly will consider building on initiatives such as the African Vaccine Acquisition Acquisition Trust for COVID-19, AVAT, and COVID-19 Vaccines Global Access, COVAX.
But this statement has arguably been received with shock by opposition New Heritage Party President Shala Kateka, who says the COVID-19 should not be the main topic discussed at the UN General Assembly by Republican President Hakainde Hichilema.
COVID has been peddled as this thing that is so serious, and yet look at the incidence of COVID. It's not that prevalent. Malaria continues to be the #1 killer in Zambia, and when you look at the figures, it's 20 times more than COVID. So I understand the president going and asking, because the West, they are peddling this COVID as a real issue, and they will give, because they are saying they want to see people vaccinated for some reason or another. For me, it wouldn't be the top priority. It's not COVID, because you must look at it in context. You must put it in context. Is COVID as serious as they are making it out to be? 3,500 deaths in 2 years. Is it 2 years?
Yeah, from
2019, 3,500 deaths, in my view, is not a pandemic.
Alex Shimba, Camnet News, Lusaka.
United Party for National Development UPND Alliance spokesperson Leslie Chikose has given all former members of Parliament a 7-day ultimatum in which they are to retain public property, failure to which the alliance will ensure that they are made to face the law. Addressing the media Monday, Mr. Chikose has cited the alleged grabbing of half the land at the Kawata Skills Center, where he alleges that the former area member of parliament, Given Luwinda, turned into personal property during his tenure of office. Meanwhile, in a phone interview, Mr. Luwinda has dismissed the allegations of illegally allocating himself the land. We have more in this report.
Allegations of unlawful possessing of public property by individuals have been ongoing in the past government. After emerging victorious in the 12 August 2021 general elections, the United Party for National Development UPND promised the people of Zambia that the new government will ensure that all property illegally obtained is restored in the spirit of maintaining law and order. UPND Alliance spokesperson Mr. Leslie Chikuse has therefore called on former members of parliament who illegally acquired public property to make sure it is given back to the people of Zambia within a period of 7 days, failure to which they will be made to face the law. Addressing the media Wednesday, the UPND Alliance spokesperson has cited the Kawata Skills Center in Lusaka, alleging that half of it was illegally turned into personal land by the former area member of parliament, Mr. Given Luwinda.
In the name of the community, Kawata Skills Center, but putting the property in his own name as Given Luwinda Foundation, did acquire on behalf of the community a play park, property number 14726, a well-known play park which belongs to the community. Such properties of skills centers have become very important because these are the properties that could be used to begin to train youths, to be able to train the women into tailoring, welding, and so on. We are giving our brother and giving him a benefit of doubt that within the next 1 week, he must hand over that before we treat this as a criminal matter.
Mr. Luwinda has, however, decided to remain unresponsive over the allegations.
I don't respond to such flimsy allegations. I tell them that I don't respond to such flimsy allegations.
Meanwhile, UPND Alliance Secretary Mr. Kalubasi Muyemba has wondered why the police are not ensuring that political violence is completely stamped out in the country when they have been given room to operate freely. He asked that there is need to end lawlessness in the new era regardless of political affiliation. Zipporah Mushala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
United Party for National Development Kanyama Area Member of Parliament Monty Nchinkuli has urged the Lusaka High Court to dismiss the petition in which losing Patriotic Front candidate Elizabeth Perry has petitioned her election, arguing that the petition was filed out of time. Ms. Perry has petitioned the election of Mr. Chinkuli, alleging electoral malpractice, bribery, violence, vote buying, among others. However, Mr. Chinkuli wants the court to dismiss the petition with cause because it was filed into court after 14 days, in which it should have been filed as required by law. We have more in this report.
With more than 60 parliamentary petitions filed before the Lusaka High Court challenging the elections of different candidates, those that have been petitioned continue to argue that they were rightly elected as candidates. UPND Kanyama Area Member of Parliament Monty Nchinkuli has told the Lusaka High Court answer to the petition where losing Patriotic Front candidate Elizabeth Perry is challenging election to dismiss the case, arguing that it was filed out of time. In response to the claims by Ms. Perry, the lawmaker states that the petition was filed 14 days after, hence it should be dismissed with cost. The petitioner, Ms. Perry, who is a former Kanyama Area Member of Parliament, lost the seat to Nchinkuli in the just ended 12 August 2021 general election, and now she is alleging that there was electoral malpractices, among them bribery, violence, vote buying. In her affidavit in opposition filed on September 15, Ms. Perry stated that she was a candidate for the Kanyama constituency, having duly filed her nomination on May 17, 2021. She submits that she read what purports to be an affidavit in support of summons to dismiss the petition for being presented later than 14 days after the declaration of the result deposed by Nchinkuli. Ms. Perry says that going by Nchinkoli's exhibit, the time began to run on August 16, 2021 and ended on October 29, 2021, arguing that her petition was presented in time and ought to be determined on merit. Meanwhile, in an answer to the petition, the Electoral Commission of Zambia, which is the second respondent in the matter, says that during the course of the election period, it received no alarming notices regarding malpractice, and therefore the said election was validly conducted. Hence, the petition should be dismissed. The case continues. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
President Hakainde Hichilema and 5 others have applied before the Lusaka High Court to have their case restored in an active cause list, where they sued the state demanding compensation for false imprisonment. Last week, High Court Judge Pixie Yangailo struck out from the active cause list the matter after parties failed to adhere to the court's order to appear on the 14th of September 2021. However, the plaintiffs now want the matter back in court. We have more in this following report.
The case involving the head of state, which was last week struck out from an active cause list, following the failure by the parties to attend court session, has been applied to be restored. President Hakainde Hichilema and 5 others have applied that the Lusaka High Court restore the matter, where they sued the state, demanding compensation for forced imprisonment. President Hakainde Hichilema, who then was an opposition leader at the time he sued the state, together with 5 others, wanted the Lusaka High Court to compel the state to pay them damages equivalent in value to the money and personal belongings lost when they were apprehended at a community house in New Kasama in 2017. The 6 were falsely imprisoned on allegation that they committed treason when the president's convoy allegedly failed to give way to his predecessor Edgar Lungu's motorcade on the Mungu-Limulungu Road in April 2017. According to a notice dated July 2021, the judge presiding over the case had threatened to strike out the matter from the active cause list within 7 days if the 6 did not take any step. The plaintiffs then requested the court to enter judgment in default of appearance against the state, but the judge refused to enter judgment in favor of the 6 and ordered that it would hear the matter on September 14, 2021 and guide on how to proceed with the matter. However, when that date came, The parties did not adhere to the court's order for direction nor appear before court for hearing, prompting the presiding judge to throw out the matter. The Sikhs now wants the matter back in court. Meanwhile, the Constitution of Zambia has amended in 2016 forbids a sitting president from suing anyone in his private capacity, according to Article 98(2) of the Constitution. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Chawama area member of Parliament Tasila Lungu has sued 3 online publications and the named media house in the Lusaka High Court for alleging that she was being investigated by the Anti-Corruption Commission (SEC) for buying a bank with all its assets worth 300 million kwacha. Ms. Tasila Lungu, who is a daughter to former President Edgar Lungu, has cited the candidate Southern Classic Media, Mwewach Tambala, and the named media house. According to the statement of claim, Ms. Lungu states that the defendants published a story and went ahead to accuse her of having bought the said bank despite the SEC having not named the person they were investigating. Ms. Lungu now wants the court to ask the 4 defendants to pay for the damages suffered, as well as withdraw the statements with an apology using the same media that was used to publish the story. You're watching Camnet TV and not just another channel. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more news after this break.
At Savenda Express Printing, we have the capacity to deliver quality in all kinds of printing services timely. Our lines of production include screen printing, embroidery, lithography, and large format printing. We take pride in delivering quality work at very competitive rates with our in-house, highly experienced and qualified designers. With the ability to print full color and embossing prints, our state-of-the-art screen printing machines are able to print 1,000 pieces per hour. Our embroidery machines are able to print any logo with 1 or up to 12 colors all at once and has an output capacity of 100 pieces per hour. Savenda Express Printing also does large format printing for billboards, banners, vinyl, car stickers, posters, tire covers, cups, pens, bags, flasks, packaging boxes, and well, just anything that can need printing. For inquiries, give us a call on 0960 344 471.
Would you like to win some cool cash? Say no more. Stand a chance to win your share of 1 million kwacha. Simply make a transaction from your Zamtel mobile money account and you could be one of weekly winners of up to 10,000 kwacha. Be empowered with Zamtel mobile money. Dial *344# to activate your account. This promotion runs from 28th July to 31st October 2021. Zamtel, your digital lifestyle partner.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
The Camnet October Conference is fast approaching. To participate in the forthcoming conference, you're required to book your seat by paying 750 kwacha per person per day. Date 1st and 2nd October 2021. Venue, the Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. Guest speakers include Professor Reda, Professor Munkumba, Mr. Nkuruma Kalaluka, Dr. Musonda, Dr. Sitima, Anthony from USA, Dr. Mwale, Honorable Bob Sichinga, Elias Pondela, and your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chiluba.
You can also participate via Zoom at 300 kwacha per day.
Make your payments through mobile money. For MTN, 096 296 5883. For Airtel, 097 975 3010. Our banking details are 913 000 182 5325. Stanbic Bank, Kablonga branch.
For those living abroad, make payments via Wild Remit. The deadline for payments will be 28 September 2021. Any late payment made after 28 September will attract a penalty fee of 200 kwacha per person.
Welcome back. We'll continue with the news. The National Action for Quality Education in Zambia Nakez Central Province has appealed to parents in the country to ignore calls by some individuals that free education be actualized in the new UPND administration, as was promised in their manifesto. Nakez Central Province Coordinator Benjamin Kajoba says parents should instead exercise patience and continue supporting education by paying school fees. Mr. Kajoba says his organization is aware that the Ministry of Education is currently carrying out data collection on user fees from schools and colleges that will further inform the refinement of the resource allocation criteria for schools and colleges. Meanwhile, Economic Freedom Fighters Party in Zambia President Kasonde Mwenda had Tuesday morning chained himself to a statue in Kitwe Township on the Copperbelt, demanding that free education be actualized by the new administration.
National Action for Quality Education in Zambia in Central Province would like to advise school authorities to engage parents through parents and teachers committees to inform parents that the free education is not yet in force. As the school calendar for Term 2 come to an end on 24th September 2021, in readiness for reopening for Term 3 on 27th September 2021, some parents may be misled by some voices advocating for the immediate implementation of free education. As Nakez, we are aware that the Ministry of Education is currently carrying out data collection on user fees from schools and colleges that will further inform the refinement of this resource allocation criteria for the schools and colleges. It must be noted also that the Ministry of Education is still running under the 2021 national budget of 11.5% allocated to it, which is insignificant to achieve many challenges the ministry is facing, such as lack of teachers, desks, learning and teaching materials in schools.
The Civil Servant and Allied Workers Union of Zambia has challenged government to appoint more women in key decision-making positions as opposed to the current low numbers. Speaking at a media briefing in Lusaka Wednesday, organization Women's Secretary Susan Nyirenda says women are able to make bold and wise decisions as leaders, which helps make the team environment less authoritative and more cooperative, bringing a family-like feeling to the team. Ms. Nyirenda says placing women in visible local national leadership roles within the nation promotes women's activism and establishes respect for authority. She meanwhile called on the government to ratify the International Labour Organization ILO Concession number 190 of 2019, which is a violation and harassment convention, in order to protect women in their work environment.
Committee, we are aware that having women in leadership roles is more important than ever. Placing women in visible local and national leadership roles within the national promotes women's activism and establishes respect for their authority. As the National Women's Committee, we equally call upon the Zambian government to ratify International Labour Organization Convention number 190 of 2019, which is the Violence and Harassment Convention. The term violence and harassment in the world of work refers to a range of unacceptable behaviors and practices or threats thereof, whether a single occurrence or related, that aim at result in or are likely to result in physical, psychological, sexual or economic harm, and includes gender-based violence and harassment. All we are asking the government is to implement the Convention 190 in the country so that we start enjoying the benefits of the ILO 190. Also appeal to Honorable Brenda Tambatamba, the Minister of Labour and Social Security, our mother, to look at the plight of workers in Zambia.
Government has pledged its commitment to enhancing women-headed entrepreneurship in Zambia. Speaking during the commemoration of the second regional trade fair in Lusaka, Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry, Chipoka Mulenga, says government plans to reserve 30% of loans for female-led businesses to allow full participation of women in trade both at country and regional level. And COMESA Secretary General Chileshe Kapwepwe, represented by Dr. Hamaj, has echoed the need for better access to technology in helping women entrepreneurs access finances and market their goods and services. Ms. Kapwepwe reviews that COMESA and other African bodies have embarked on providing digital platforms such as the 50 Million African Women Speak project to address the information needs of women in business in the region. We have details in the following report.
Tuesday, 22nd September 2021, the Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa Federation for Women in Business, COMFEB, commemorated its second annual trade fair at Mulungoshi Conference Center in Lusaka. A number of issues were raised, among them being access to business opportunities by women in the region. The Zambian government has since pledged its commitment to ensuring a favorable environment for entrepreneurship, thereby providing opportunities for enhancing trade in the COMESA region. Speaking during the ceremony, Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry, Chipoka Mulenga, has assured to reserve 30% of loans for women-led businesses to allow full participation of women in trade.
As such, the government of Zambia recognizes these opportunities in and around the region and is keen to promoting women businesses and shall remain committed to having continued collaborative engagements and providing support as we work together to harness increased women participation in trade across all sectors of the economy. I am glad to mention that the government of Zambia was among the COMESA members that endorsed the establishment of COMFEB in pursuant of Article 28, 154 and 155 of the COMESA Treaty, which recognizes the critical and important contribution of women to regional integration agenda, and we don't intend to stop there.
And COMESA Secretary General Chileshe Kapwepwe, represented by Dr. Dev Haman, has highlighted some of the initiatives COMESA is implementing to ensure participation of women at regional and global market.
Women in business and policy makers, there is need to ensure that member states create financial institutions which put capital in the hands of women. Like the CEO has mentioned already, we have been working with NEPAD and a program called BULGED, and on a very trial basis we have been working with Sudan, Kenya, Eswatini, and Burundi. And we will be replicating the same program in other member states.
Meanwhile, COMFEB Chief Executive Officer Ms. Ruth Negesh says the organization remains optimistic as the response from women across borders is overwhelming.
Trade fair to achieve four main objectives, mainly to provide the opportunity for women businesses to showcase their products and services, two, to promote the market-led approach to women entrepreneurs and promote business linkages, three, to inform policymakers about COMFEB chapters activities in general, and four, to attract investors, capitalize in women's value addition efforts to bring tangible change to our African economy.
With 21 commercial member states represented, the COMFEB second annual trade fair is scheduled to run from 22nd to 24th September 2021 on a theme promoting regional integrated and strong resilient economies through trade. Alex Chimba, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Police spokesperson Esther Katongo says 10 suspects are currently in police custody for allegedly assaulting Kafula Chileshe, aged 39, of Matero Township at the Magistrate Court Complex Tuesday, the 21st of September 2021. Mrs. Katongo says it is alleged that the victim was assaulted at the court's gate as he attempted to attend a court session where the ruling in the petition of Lusaka mayor's seat was being held. The police spokesperson says it is whilst at the gate that a green minibus stopped near the victim and the passengers descended on him and began beating him up. Mr. Chileshe then sustained a swollen face and general body pains, and that police who rushed to the scene apprehended 10 suspects, out of which 4 have positively been identified by the suspect during an identification parade which was conducted on Wednesday. Ms. Katongo says the suspects have been identified as Robbie Chinyama, Lakson Tembo, Vincent Zulu and Chivuka Chinyama, who have been charged with assault occasioning actual bodily harm. The Ministry of Health has opened the trauma counseling training in view of increased gender-based violence cases. The ministry says the training will assist individuals, families and the community to find healthier ways to cope with the after effects of their traumatic incidences. Addressing the media Wednesday, Ministry of Health Public Health Director Andrew Silumesi says there is no better time than now to expand the knowledge base and ensure the counseling. Dr. Silumesi said the training will curb several attacks on women having been abused at some point in their lives. Meanwhile, Zambia has in the last 24 hours recorded 77 new confirmed COVID-19 cases out of the 6,769 tests conducted, indicating a 1.1% positivity.
It's a huge problem which we need to face head-on. There is no better time than now to expand our knowledge base and ensure trauma counseling that assists individuals, families, and even entire communities to find healthy ways to cope with the after effects of their traumatic incident is bettered. On behalf of the Ministry of Health, I would like to welcome you all to this training that has been supported by our all-time partner, USAID-funded project, Zambia Center for Communication Programs, ZCCP Quattro. Let me take this opportunity to thank ZCCP once again through your director for all the all-time support that continues to be rendered to the GBV program.
In a quest to enhance accessibility to mobile phone network services in the country, state-owned telecommunications company Zamtel has commenced installation works of a 10 million subscriber capacity online charging system, equipment that will allow it to double its subscriber base by 2023. The equipment, valued at $5.7 million, will be installed and commissioned over a period of 3 months and will facilitate easier subscriber management process. When fully commissioned, the new equipment will enable Zamtel increase its active subscriber capacity from the current 4 million to 10 million. The firm is currently operating at over 92% capacity utilization with an active subscriber base of 3.7 million. Commenting on the development, Zamtel Chief Executive Officer Sydney Mupeta stated that the installation of the new online charging system is a huge milestone in positioning the company for future growth. Mr. Mupeta noted that the old system was constraining growth as it limited the number of new customers that would be added to the network. You're watching Camnet TV News. We take another break. We'll be back with more news after this break.
In our quest to serve nations and develop Africa, Savenda is investing in the agriculture sector so as to produce supply for both local and international markets. Housing over 12,000 pullets that are nurtured and fed with our locally made stock feed that comes from our own locally grown maize and soya beans, all processed from our recently installed milling and mixing plant. Our over 95,000 layers have an output capacity of over 1,500 trays of fresh eggs per day that are carefully selected and packaged for all the leading stores and supermarkets nationwide. Our greenhouses are fitted with the latest irrigation system, and the seedlings are nurtured to ensure only healthy plants reach the fields. With our deliberate planting schedule, we are better placed to supply constantly without interruption, thus reliable. Savenda Farms is also changing lives of its dedicated workforce drawn from the local community and beyond. So the next time you think fresh and green, think Savenda Farms.
Africa is rising to a new dawn of integrity and accountability. Are you tired of being swindled or buying fake or illegal properties? Would you like to sell or buy genuine property? Would you like to list your property on both local and international market. Don't waste your time. Call the professionals, the SGK Properties, on +260 762 166018. SGK Properties. Your business assurance is our priority.
The Camnet October Conference is fast approaching. To participate in the forthcoming conference, you're required to book your seat by paying 750 kwacha per person per day. Date 1st and 2nd October 2021. Venue The Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. Guest speakers include Professor Reda, Professor Munkumba, Mr. Nkuruma Kalaluka, Dr. Musonda, Dr. Sitima, Anthony from USA, Dr. Mwale, Honorable Bob Sichinga, Elias Bondela, and your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chiluba.
You can also participate via Zoom at 300 kwacha per day.
Make your payments through mobile money. For MTN, 096 296 5883. For Airtel, 097 975 3010. Our banking details are 913 000 182 5325. Stanbic Bank, Kablonga Branch.
For those living abroad, make payments via Wild Remit. The deadline for payments will be 28 September 2021. Any late payment made after 28 September will attract a penalty fee of 200 kwacha per person.
Welcome back. We continue with the news. And in international news, the coup in Guinea earlier this month has given the country an unexpected windfall. Political uncertainty has pushed up the value of its bauxite reserves. The ore is used to produce aluminium, and companies are setting up large-scale operations to cash in. In other news, Libya's first unified elections scheduled for later this year are in doubt after politicians in the east withdrew confidence in the transitional government. In a new blow to UN-recognized peace efforts, 89 MPs in Libya's eastern-based parliament voted to withdraw confidence from the Tripoli-based administration. The move comes amidst disputes on electoral law and the possible postponement of elections. Prime Minister Abdul Nahid Deiba says he will continue to lead the caretaker administration despite the development. For more of international news, here's a roundup.
Guinea is some of the world's largest reserves of bauxite, and now the race is on to exploit more of it. Despite the country's military coup and risks of economic isolation, supplies haven't been disrupted, and more is expected to be mined this year than last.
There is a strong commitment to protect the foreign direct investment and to continue attracting big and bigger investment in Guinea for the sake of valorizing the mining resources in Guinea.
Concerns were raised over the stability of supplies when a group of soldiers overthrew the democratic government in early September. That pushed up bauxite prices.
The government and mining companies here are hoping that the current high price of bauxite will continue. For the government in particular, the mineral represents more than 30% of its annual budget. Guinea's new military rulers desperately need to fund their programs.
In 2020, this West African country exported more than 64 million metric tons of the mineral, second only to Australia. Analysts say Guinea should focus more on processing the ore locally than exporting it.
We need to industrialize our bauxite in Guinea. We need to transform it from raw material to aluminium, so that we will have more add value on it. This is very important for us. But now, if we send only bauxite, the raw bauxite, we won't have, let's say, many add value on it. It won't create jobs in our country. It won't create new tax.
Critics say decades of corruption and a failure to effectively regulate mining companies has left many people in Guinea in poverty and damaged the environment.
Il n'y a aucun doute
We cannot afford to toy with the mining sector today without having economic repercussions. On the contrary, we must open investments in mining projects that have been in the pipeline for a long time.
Guinea accounts for 24% of global bauxite supplies, and it's focused on one thing: maximizing revenues from the current rainfall. But as some analysts point out, there is no guarantee the price of the mineral will go on rising. Ahmed Idris, Al Jazeera, Conakry.
In a closed session on Monday, the Eastern-based parliament in Tobruk said it passed a vote of no confidence in the interim unity government. But now, there are questions about the transparency of the vote and if it was even legal.
After reaching quorum for today's session with 113 MPs present, a vote of no confidence was carried out with 89 MPs voting to pull confidence from the unity government. The unity government will continue its work as a caretaker government.
Mohammed Rayed is an MP. He says that for a no-confidence vote to be legal, at least 120 MPs must vote for it to be official.
What we saw today was a group of MPs who agreed to carry out a vote. They entered the hall and within minutes announced that 89 MPs voted to pull confidence from the government. There wasn't any information on who voted, how many voted against and who abstained.
The government of national unity came to power in March. It followed a long and challenging political settlement helped by the United Nations. It was tasked with leading the country until nationwide elections can take place in December.
The move by the Parliament to vote on a no-confidence motion is not in Libya's interest. The Parliament and government should be cooperating and intensifying their efforts to provide the right conditions for holding elections.
After years of conflict, Libyans were beginning to feel hopeful that things were getting better. But now, with clear signs of political divisions emerging, that feeling may start to fade away and put into question if elections can be held as scheduled. Malik Traina, Al Jazeera, Tripoli.
It's now time for sports news. And in sports news, a group of sports non-governmental organizations have called on the Ministry of Youth, Sport and Art to help in the sustainability of their works by providing resources, structures, policies and a budget. Revealing to the media at a press briefing and representing the delegation, Dr. Lombe Mwamba says government is responsible for the work of delivering sports in the country. We have more in the following report.
Sports is increasingly being recognized for the contribution it can make to the Millennium Development Goals and the response to the HIV and AIDS pandemic. This recognition of the value of sport led to the instigation of a number of non-governmental organizations in Zambia and in other parts of the world that deliver combined programs of sports and life skills education. That said, a syndicate of sports non-governmental organizations has called on the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Art to help in the sustainability of their works by providing resources, structures, policies and budget.
And all of those things. And as sports for development organizations, one of the things that we have come to do really well is to be quite agile and innovative about how we go about our work, meaning we work with whoever is available. And we work where the work is. And so that's why we are firstly all over the country. Secondly, sports organizations comes in different sizes and capacities. So here there's like large organizations dealing with USAID grants, dealing with big international bilateral funding, and then also you have small sports organizations who are just being funded firstly by their own individual resources, and then they've got a partner or two, but they're still doing really impactful work. And so with that, we have seen how the work we do is not only addressing youth unemployment or addressing health.
They say government is responsible for delivering sports in the country.
Seeking is for the kind of interaction with the ministry that, one, contributes to sustaining our work through the ministerial structures, the ministerial policies, the ministerial resources and budgets. Because we recognize that really the work of delivering sports and physical activity is a government responsibility. And our role as active citizens is really to motivate and encourage that participation for shared ownership in the vision.
And Minister of Youth, Sports and Arts says they will work together with NGOs.
Of always the ministry directing the policies, I think, should be a thing of the past. We need to work together where you feel that there is need for us to go this way. I think we sit down and see how best that could be achieved. Then no one will cry after that policy has been put forward. No one will cry because there was an involvement of every stakeholder. So that is very acceptable, especially in our new Dawn government. Yes, regular meetings should be promoted. For me, I would suggest that.
Blessings Chakwila, Camnet Sports, Lusaka.
The Zambia Motor Sports Association says all is set for the 2021 Zambia International Rally, where Zambia will be the hosting nation. Disclosing to the media, Association President Sam Chingambu says the rally will be an opportunity to market Zambia to other countries in Africa. Chingambu says there is no African country that has beaten Zambia, hence expecting good results. We have more in the following report.
The 2021 Zambia International Rally has received a huge boost, with auto dealer Sarago Motors pumping in 175,000 kwacha to become the main sponsors of the event. Zambia Motor Sports Association says all is set for the 2021 International Rally, of which Zambia will be the hosting nation. Disclosing to the media, the association president says the rally will be an opportunity to market Zambia to other African countries.
And there is no African country, not even South Africa, not even big nations like Nigeria have beaten that record. So to us, I think, as Zedem would say, and also as a country, I think we are proud of that record. And that's why whenever we host this event, we always appeal to government to give us somebody to come and officiate. And we have been honored, we've been lucky that each time we host, the government has been there for us. And that's why we thought, since you are coming in this office, it would be important for us to quickly pay courtesy call, brief you about this event. So far, we have Zimbabwe, Uganda, Kenya, Zimbabwe, South Africa, and the host Zambia. These are countries that are participating in this event.
He has since called on the government to work hand in hand with them in order to enhance safety for the participants.
Honorable Minister, I would say that the officials and everybody that rides on board are already in the country, just finalizing their details before we flag off on Friday. Now the program is straightforward. We have two sections: one, the flag off, and also the prize giving ceremony, which then awards the winners. We are racing from two areas. On Saturday, first of all, Friday flag off. After flag off ceremony, we'll come in showgrounds where we have our club and the special circuit that we designed specifically for spectators and the sponsors, so that they give them at least.
Meanwhile, Minister of Youth, Sports and Arts has assured the association of the ministry's support.
As sport is an integral social sector that play a big role in social economy of the country. It puts the country on the world map and continental map, and it fosters unity of purpose, to mention but a few. I want also to state that the government through the ministry will continue to facilitate tax exemptions, and this is very important. If you want to grow this sport, then you must give you some incentives that will make you bring it in.
Ministry of Youth, Sports and Arts is looking to develop many sports disciplines and not only football. Blessings Chakwila, Camnet Sports, Lusaka.
To end the news, we take a look at stories making headlines again. Mother of a 2-year-old boy with a bulged testicle calls for help. The UPND Alliance asks former PF officials to surrender dubiously acquired properties to the state. President Hakainde Hichilema commits to fight gender inequalities. In international news, COUP uncertainty raises value of bauxite in Guinea. In sports news, the 2021 Zambia International Motor Rally set. We now look at the Camnet verse for the day, which is coming from Psalms 34, verse 18 to 19, and it reads, "The Lord is near the brokenhearted, he saves those crushed in spirit. Many adversities come to the one who is righteous, but the Lord delivers him from them all." My name is Jeffrey Ziambo, and thanks for watching Camnet TV Main News. Bye-bye.